Solomon Live, show number 319 here. The Omer, the No Music Omer Show, day number 2. Again, how long will this show go? Depends to you. Depends if you guys ask me some questions. And we have a great show coming up on Wednesday night where we will be having Ethan Bill back as an interviewee. We will be interviewing him, actually. That'll be fun. That'll be Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Israel time, 2 p.m. American time. Um, and and that's the scoop. So here we are. It is approximately a little bit over 3 weeks left until we hit the holiday of Shavuot. And of course, we have Lag BaOmer coming up soon. So it's a great time. It's this is the time that I always used to use to write new albums, write songs, write new albums. And I want to say hello to Jason from Chandler, Arizona. Good to see you, Jace. As he is on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you should be able to be responding to me and I should be able to see it. Even X or LinkedIn, I should be able to see your comments. But right now, this is the no music show because, of course, we are in the middle of of the days of the Omer where there's no music. Whichever version you hold from. So some people do the first 33 days where they don't listen to music. Other people do from Rosh Chodesh all the way from Rosh Chodesh ER all the way to Shavuot. So that would be, but I usually do. So when you're playing music, you can play music. I mean, I could even play music now. The truth is, but we have to have respect for those that are holding, that don't listen to music during Sfirat HaOmer. So we will be playing music from Lag BaOmer from Lag BaOmer for the rest of the time. So that will be this is our no music thing. Now I could do an a cappella show. We do name that tune a cappella. So let's give you an example. If I did something like do 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 do, what song is that? What about this one? Do 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 do. What song is that? Let's give you one more. Let's do 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 do. That wasn't so good. Let's see if we could. This one. We'll do this one. Do 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 do. Okay, so we've given you 3 different name that tunes a cappella. Now, they're not schlock rock songs; they're regular rock songs. Okay, so what are we up to? What's going on in the world of schlock? Well, I have constructed a letter. The letter has to go out to 13,000 schlock rock fans and Daniel in Babylon fans, and it has to say, and it's going to say something like this: we need to make more projects for the Jewish people, for the people of the world, and in order to do that, it has to be listener sponsored. So I give you 3 options. Option number 1, we want to launch Daniel in Babylon this year. We need to find $125,000 investors. Okay, so that letter will go out to people and say, find me one $5,000 investor. If it could be you, if you want to. You have to be in touch with me at Lenny@schlockrock.com, Lenny@schlockrock.com, Lenny@schlockrock.com. Okay, I'm not going to do that song. And that way we will be in touch and I'll show you what has to be done. Other option is that's investing. If you want to donate to the Schlockrock Foundation. What is the Schlockrock Foundation? So the Schlockrock Foundation, www.schlockrockfoundation.org, is a 501c3 tax-deductible organization where we spread informal Jewish education through music and media. Simple as that. What does that mean? What is informal Jewish education? Okay, so when let's say you're in a classroom, that's formal Jewish education. What's informal Jewish education? That's where you learn by listening to music, by watching shows, by seeing skits, by seeing music videos. That's informal Jewish education. If we're teaching Jewish concepts, obviously it doesn't have to be informal Jewish education. It could be informal any type of education. But we specialize in informal Jewish education, and all you really have to do is go to www.schlockrockfoundation.org and place a donation. Now, that donation could be as follows. It could be for the Schlockrock Foundation. It also could be for Daniel in Babylon to launch it. But everybody's got to do it. And I know that there are 250,000 Schlockrock fans out there. We know that you're there. How do I know? Because everywhere I go, you tell me. You've seen me on planes. You take selfies with me. I mean, I'm just being humble. It's just a fact. The facts are, you see me, you say, Lenny, Schlockrock, we love Schlockrock, we listen to Schlockrock, we just were listening in the car, we listen on Spotify, we listen on YouTube, we listen on iHeart Music, it's on all the streaming services, thanks to Eitan G, our Jewish rapper. So it's there. So all you got to do is go to schlockrockfoundation.org, place a donation. Now, but if you want to invest, you can invest. Or if you want to donate, you can donate. It's up to you. You can't do both. You can't invest and donate. Well, you can if you invest part of it and donate part of it, but that's complicated. So that's the story. So we're going to have a letter going out, and it's going to go to all of you guys. Why haven't you gotten it yet? Because of me. Because it's the way it is. You have to really hustle and do these things. Say hello to Andra in Frederick, Maryland, and she's also watching on YouTube. Right, reaching out to a synagogue near me in Frederick, Maryland. You bet. Let's do a concert. I'm coming to America June 19th to July 1st, and then we'll have other shows during the year. We'll have other shows during the year. No hockey jerseys today because I don't know. As we get to the summer, it gets harder and harder to wear hockey jerseys. During the hockey season, it's easier. Yeah. So that's the story. So that letter is going to go out. Now, what about new material? So we are working on the 41st Schlockrock album, which is going to hopefully come out in August, but now it's looking more like November because, well, frankly, because of the war here in Israel, you can't just, it's kind of hard to pick up and leave your family and go to America and record an album. I could record it in Israel. That is true. But I find that for parody albums, I record in America by Ethan Bill. He's going to be joining us as my guest on the No Omer Music Day 3. That will be on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Israel time, 2 p.m. New York time, 11 a.m. West Coast time. So yeah, we're going to have Ethan Bill on, and he'll tell us what he's up to and all the things that he's doing when he's not schlocking with me. He is the number one drummer for Schlockrock. He's also the engineer for all the projects that I do in New Jersey. Of course, it's also time for some seltzer. You have to have seltzer, ladies and gentlemen. Seltzer is very important. Yes. Okay, so we did a little Name That Tune with you guys. We talked to you about the Schlockrock Foundation and what it does and the importance. You guys have no idea the importance back in the day. I mean, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an education in terms of what I did. How did I become the king of schlock, and how did Schlockrock become so big? It's 38 years of schlocking, 41 albums, 38 years. How did this all happen? The answer was God. Nothing happens without God putting his stamp of approval on what you're going to do. If he doesn't give you stamp of approval, you ain't doing it. You can bang your head against the wall, but God has to give you the go ahead. Now, I will tell you that I never planned on doing Schlockrock, They come to America. Andra wants me to do Coming to America from Neil Diamond. What about you? You know, you remember Living in America? That's, of course, that's different. That's from Rocky, with Apollo Creed. You remember that scene with Drago? He's Apollo Creed's about to fight Drago, and they have this whole dance number, Living in America, and then Drago, yeah, okay, Drago kills him, and then Rocky has to fight Drago in a big Rocky Four. That was Rocky Four. I actually enjoyed that movie. Um, okay, Jason writes, the seltzer is your fuel. Can the seltzer company sponsor you? Great idea. Maybe Jason, you get in touch with Schweppes and say you need to sponsor the King of Schlock, Daniel in Babylon, and all of his projects. I'm not sure that I have a big market share as, let's say, Taylor Swift or Bruno Mars. Just saying. I'm not sure that I have my market share is as big as all that. But, you know, you never know. Okay, so where were we? So we were talking about what it was like in the beginning. I must tell you, it was unbelievable in the beginning. Um, I remember putting out the first Schlock Rock album, Learning is Good, in 1986, January 1986. We put it out, and nothing really happened for the first 3 months. And then around March, I started getting letters from people. One lady wrote, my brother who hates Judaism is listening to your cassette around the clock. Keep up the good work. And then another person wrote something similar. And then a third person wrote, the Abarbanel would be rolling in his grave if he knew what you did with his name. And so you had these like this. Some people loved it, some people didn't like it. And that was the most important thing, because if people don't care, if they're pariv, then you go nowhere. But if they have an opinion, ooh, I love that Schlock Rock. Ooh, I hate that Schlock Rock. It was really good. And sometimes rabbis would come up to me and say, what are you doing? What is this? What is this stuff? What are you doing? And I would say, but this is great stuff. The kids love it. It makes them feel good about being Jewish. You had to teach the rabbis what this was all about. And they finally got it by around the third album. They understood it, you know. But that first album, Learning is Good, caught on. And by the summer, it was the hottest selling album in the Catskill Mountains, which back then the Catskills were big, big, big with all the camps there. Still there are camps there and everything, but you know, so it was humongous. It was big. And we still hadn't even gotten still hadn't even gotten calls for shows, because I was still with my other band, my band called Kesher, right? Schlock Rock was a spin-off from Kesher. Um anyway, so that first album came out, and because of the letters that I got, I said, wow, there's something here. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to start working on a second album. So I started working on album number 2, and I started working on an original album called Jewish Pride. And the Jewish Pride had on it Minyan Man. It also had on it Hine Matov Umanaim Sheven Achim Gam Yachad. It was really fun. It was a fun album, and we recorded it on the Lower East Side in Allen Street. Lou Holtzman was the owner of that um, of that studio. Mick Cantarello was the engineer, and it was at that point that I met Steve Bill. And Steve Bill, I had met him before because he did the arranging of Kesher 2 and Kesher 3. But Steve Bill, I showed him the project of Schlock Rock 1, which I didn't use him as the producer. And I said, would you like to produce this album? And he said, yes. And so Purim Torah came out in March of 87. It was a very, very good album. Had on it Under the Chuppah. So now Schlock Rock is growing and it's getting a name. And the best was yet to come, because, you know, I started getting phone calls and they wanted Schlock Rock in concert. And it was at that point that I put together the band. You know, Yona Lloyd on guitar, and Mark Squire on bass, and Danny Block on sax, Gary Wallen on drums, Mark Infield on percussion, and myself on keyboard. And So my first shows that I did, which were in September of '87, were just myself in Montreal and in Toronto with some guys that I hired, and then in December in Bayonne and in Smithtown, we did a weekend, a schlock rock weekend. We did a schlock rock weekend, and it was fabulous. And now the calls started coming for shows from '88 to '96, 100 shows a year. Can you believe that? It became a living. Never in a million years did I think it was going to become a living. Never. I didn't even think. I thought it would be a one album hit, the one album wonder. Schlock rock, one album wonder. But it wasn't. It was more, and it was really great. You know, um, and so that was that. And at that point, so where are we? It's '88. At December of '88, Amuna came out in February of '88, and then in December of '88, it was Two Night Old Jews, the third parody album with My Menorah and with Who Can It Be Now, right? Modani Now. Great parody. Great album. Rashi was on there also. And what happened after that? So another year goes by. We do Shirei Boker in December of '89, Songs of the Morning, followed by Lenny and the Schlockers, January 1990. Steve Bill produced that with a rhythm band, with a rhythm section that was, unbelievable. I cried. I remember I was listening to Am Yisrael Chai when they were recording it, and I was crying. I said, couldn't believe how good it was. You can be very emotional making music. Making music is a very emotional thing. Music is a very emotional thing. So, and I was going places. I was going to different cities. In March of 1990, I was hired by the community of Anchorage, Alaska, the Green family, Debbie and David Grashin, and we went to Anchorage in March of 1990. Me and Gary Wallen, it was just the two of us because it wasn't a big community, so they couldn't hire a whole band, but they hired myself on keys and Gary on drums. So we're flying to Anchorage, and there's an announcement by the pilot that Mount St. Helens is erupting. So you know, we have to be diverted to Los Angeles. So we get diverted to Los Angeles, and now we've got to figure out how to get to Anchorage. So we're waiting in the airport online, and the ground starts moving. There's an earthquake happening in LA. So we so we had two natural disasters. So we finally the next day we flew to Anchorage, and while we were driving, we saw a sign: "Road out, avalanche." So we had a volcano eruption, an earthquake, and an avalanche in 2 days. It was one of the, and that Shabbat was the Iditarod. The Iditarod is the famous dog sled ride. It was March of 1990. There was 5 inches of snow or 5 feet of snow everywhere. 5 feet of snow everywhere. But it wasn't so cold. But at night, we went into the hot tub. Blizzard weather, 104-degree hot tub, 30 degrees outside. We had a little seltzer, me and Gary, in the hot tub, and the next day we had a show. Yeah, those are the days. Gonna say hello to Uri Butler, my good friend Uri Butler from Squirrel Hill, PA, from Pittsburgh, PA. So, you know, he's writing to us from X. So that was the March of 1990 trip to Anchorage, Alaska. Now, we had some great experiences when we went to Vancouver and in Seattle in '89. We traveled all over. By 2014, we hit all 50 states, and that was great. So now it's 1990, and I'm hustling, but we're not really hustling. The phone is still ringing. The phone is ringing off the hook, and not only that, we're selling merch. We're selling CDs, but we didn't even make CDs yet. CDs started being made in '92. We were making cassettes only. Now, '91, we put out Sergeant Schlocker's Magical History Tour, August '91, and that was a big turning point. Schlocker zoomed. They love that album. We've Got a Strong Desire, Into the Sea, Eshet Chayil, which was a parody of Pretty Woman, Leaving the USSR, which was called Back in the USSR. Rather, Leaving the USSR, which was a parody of Back in the USSR. It was a Beatles parody. It was great, and yeah, Natana writes, loved all those early parody albums. Everybody did. It was a great experience. It was just a great experience, and I the world was our oyster, as they said. The world was our candy store. We would be going everywhere. I mean, I went to Australia, I went to South Africa. South Africa I went to 9 times between 1988 and 2005. I went to Australia 8 times between 86 and 286 and 2015. Yeah, love Australia. I have so friends everywhere in those areas. Anyway, so that was it. So that's our schmooze today. Our schmooze of the early years, bringing us up to 91. We have to go further, but we'll do it another time because we're already 22 minutes. I've spoken for 22 minutes straight. But I want to say hello to everybody, including our associate producer, Judy Hertzfeld, from Clifton, New Jersey. Say hello to one of our sponsors, the Kosher Cakery, and Devorah Altman. We want to say hello to, do I know? Okay, Jason asks, do I know the Jewish Australia? Well, I do. I've been to Melbourne, I've been to Sydney, I've been to Perth. I know people in all those cities, and I've performed there many times. So I don't know if that's what you're asking. Maybe there's something else called the Jewish Australia, but I do know people from Australia who are Jewish. I know the whole Jewish community. So here Natana writes, Lenny, I'll be in Massachusetts in September for the birth of my daughter's first baby concert. Why not? I don't know when, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, you guys, I want to tell you that it's been really great schmoozing with you. Join us on Wednesday night when I'll have Ethan Bill in studio. We're going to talk about what it's like making albums, what he's up to, and keep on schlocking, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Israel time, 2 p.m. New York time. Keep on schlocking, and it's a wrap. Lenny Solomon Live, show number 319 is in the books.